Good day to everyone. This is your host Vance, and we are from Kopi with Vance. That's right. Thank you for joining us today. As usual, before we kickstart our topic today with our guest speaker, as usual, the Mark. And for the past 2 days, it's not been coffee, it's water. So maybe we might want to change it water with Vance rather than Kopi with Vance. All right, just kidding. Of course, we need to hydrate ourselves as much as possible nowadays because of the weather. Even though it's cool weather, that doesn't mean that we do not need to hydrate. We need to hydrate, right? So let's jump into the topic today. This is a second talk session in the week. Usually, we only have once a week, but I was very excited, right, to have this conversation with Mr. Raj. This is our motivational speaker, and I think for most people who know him, he's not a beginner, right? He's very well known. He have talked in certain talking platforms like TED Talks, and done a lot of things over the social media. And he's a very, I got to say, very positive. He gives lots of tips. He bring out messages to out there in social media and some pertaining to issues of the current situations. And he's always the one thing that I always liked about his talk session is that at the end of each short videos, he always posts a thing that, what do you think? I know that's it. And then you will start to see a lot of people commenting. So I think it's a very blessed and a great to have him in our platform in Kopi Events to talk a little bit more on sensitive issues. All right. Today we're going to talk a little bit on abuse. We're going to talk about cyberbullying. We're also going to talk about victims. I was just having a conversation before we coming on live that, if somebody, nowadays, right, social media, there's a lot of things that's happening. If somebody is changing and the video caught someone wearing boxers and then they say, hey, if you don't give me $200, I'm going to show it and flash it. Well, so be it. So this is a kind of motivational, resilient mindset, not to fear, not to be a victim, not to be fake profile. So these are the things that we're going to discuss and dive in. So viewers watching this, please, if you have any questions for us, for myself, or even for Raj, please feel free to ask us in the comment box, and we will try to reply that as much as we possible. Right? The talk session is always designed to have about design duration is about 1.5 hours, but depending on the questions that we have Q&A. Right? Without any ado, I'm going to pull up the guest speaker of mine, Mr. Raj Singh. Hello, Mr. Raj.
Hi, Van.
How are you there?
Good, I'm good. Hey, thank you for having me on. I'd like to say thanks first. It might be a bit of pressure on me because I don't really do live stuff, but hey,
Okay.
let's see what we can do.
I know, Raj. I know you for about a year or so. Been watching you. I've been following you as well. Very interesting topics time to time. The last one you talk about signaling. In roads, in Singapore roads. The moment you signal, people come as fast as possible. So I'm one of the victims as well. I'm thinking whether should I signal or should I not signal. So your short videos, even though it's about 20 minutes, 2 minutes to 3 minutes, or even sometimes 1 minute, I think there's a very powerful impact. And that's what makes us to be connected with the same energy and synergy today at Kopi with Vance. So it is my blessing to have you in Kopi with Vance to discuss a lot of stuff that pertaining to teenagers right now. And you aware of that, I'm sure you have spoke about this in a couple of your videos, and I'm going to bring it a little bit more. So we're going to change gears on different topics. But before we go on, I know I have a little information about you, but I think it will be best if you can do for yourself to our viewers so that we can move on to the next topic.
Okay, you're right. We should take a look at our kids. We should take a look at the youngsters because they are our future. And if we're not helping them, then who is going to help them? I mean, I've heard of this saying, we can go so far. The next generation must go further on our shoulders. And that's what we're here for. We're not here to compete with them. We're not here to put them down. We're here to carry them as far as we can so that they can go further than us. They must go further than us so that they can do the same with their next generation as well. So that's my belief. And I mean, you've already introduced me. I came from a humble background. My dad did 2 jobs. I hardly saw him, but somehow we made it. And I don't want anyone else to go through that. I don't want people to have to suffer through life when it's not necessary, right? So that's just a little about me. And yeah, I'm outspoken. When I see something, I must say something. That's why sometimes I get into trouble as well.
But you see, that is the thing, right? Because there is I mean, it can't be a different mask, but I think there is a burning desire within you that you want to change. So, you making the change, I think there's a lot of impact. There's been a lot of followers who are watching it as well. Thank you for viewers right now who are tuning in. Today with me is motivational speaker Raj saying he has different hats. And today's his introduction is very humble. In fact, there is a lot more things to learn about him as we go on. Raj, I have seen your video on a topic on TED Talk regarding about foreign workers. That was very, very inspiring, and the way you put on things, how perspectives, how they behave, and how as Singaporeans we behave. And I think that was very inspiring TED Talk. Maybe you want to talk a little bit of that before we jump into our topic today.
Okay, that's actually an old TED Talk. I mean, if I remember it correctly, it was October 2016. 2016. So I spoke at NTU, and well, basically, I shared what I saw and what I went through. That you know, people look at foreign workers as their different breed. There's someone else from somewhere else coming here just to do work, and there's a barrier. So I shared with them what it feels like to be a foreign worker, to go through the hassles. I mean, they are human after all. They've come here so that they can try and make a better living. Some of them don't. They put in so much effort to come here. They pay so much money to come here, and they struggle. But the thing that keeps them going is their family back home, and we can learn from all of them. Whether it's resilience, whether it's frugality, because I've seen them eat. They don't spend money. They try not to spend as much money, and there are reasons for that. I mean, you save for a rainy day, right? That TED Talks was 2016. But it kind of blew up on the internet again last year because of COVID. So during COVID, we had the foreign workers in dormitories. They were restricted to the dormitories because COVID was there was an outbreak of COVID among the workers in the dormitories, and I don't know how that TED Talk resurfaced and got shared, but
Yes, it
gave a lot of people some insight about what they went through. So yeah, that was something that I am really proud of as well. I mean, people were listening so that they could understand.
So definitely we're going to share that video later on with the link below so that our viewers who are watching this, you can actually watch that video. It's very inspiring about foreign workers, looking them as one of us rather than, treating them as an object or, you came here just for work, you're getting paid, I'm staying away from them. I mean, so and so forth. But today's topic is very interesting because we're not going to talk about that. But today's topic is something that caught our eye was I was born yesterday.com. All right. And, to be very honest, it actually catches my eye. And it is a very, very deep sentence that you have posted it because a lot of people was asking, hey, wasn't it supposed to be wasn't? I wasn't born yesterday. No, it is I was born yesterday, right? So do you want to talk a little bit of this first before we go into
Sure.
the of
Okay,
topics?
those people that know me, right? They know that I don't like those get rich gurus, the people who promise you, oh, you can get rich in an instant, just pay me $1,999 or whatever. They know that I don't like this type of people. They know I don't like scammers. They know that I don't like bullies or liars. So the other day I was just having some fun. There was a scam going out, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to teach you how to do this. Pay me." And this was really a spoof. I said, "Pay me like what, $19,977 or whatever." To the link, I was born yesterday, trying to poke fun, saying that, look, we need to be more aware. We need to think like young kids. We need to think like babies where, we only trust the people around us. So it was a spoof. And yeah, I mean, people also saw that, like, wasn't it I wasn't born yesterday? And it made them think like, why is he saying this? So there was a lot of thought behind that as well. I mean, you said it yourself. People asked you, is there a typo out there? So yeah, it really makes them think, and there are reasons why I relate stuff like that. You know, um, I was born yesterday, and today I was thinking, okay, how do I explain this well? So if you don't mind,
Yes.
no, I think of myself as being born yesterday as well. Think of myself as a baby. If you look at babies, they go through a process. When they're born, they basically just lie there, they're swaddled up, you carry them around. After a while, then you have tummy time with them, you turn them over so that they can learn. Then they learn how to roll. Then they learn how to sit up. Then they learn how to crawl or stand or walk or run. So it's a process. There's no shortcut. There's just no shortcut. There's no blueprint or easy way to start running. Doesn't happen. They go through this process, and we need to think like that as well. As adults, there's actually no shortcut to learning something. There's no shortcut to going to a gym and working out. There's no shortcut to financial freedom. There's no shortcut at all. I mean, you have to go through that process, just like a baby to a toddler to a kid to an adult. So, I mean, but people forget that. People do forget that. And people also think that babies are soft. Actually, no. Babies are tough. Trust me, they are tough. I mean, if anyone has kids, when the baby wants something and cries, they will cry until they get their things, right? So parents will give in because, hey, the baby is crying. Let's find a way to solve this problem. So babies are actually tough. So we need to remember, yeah, we are born yesterday because we have a process. We grow through stages. We are tough. And at the same time, I also like to say this, babies are miracles, right? So being born is a miracle. We need to always remember that we are actually miracles. You can believe in any kind of God or no gods, but the moment we're born, we've given life. And that's an awesome thing. And we should never forget that. We should always remember, hey, just yesterday we were born, we were given this wonderful gift of life. And we can do so much with it. So always remember, I was born yesterday. Yeah.
So I'm sure viewers probably right now they might be typing. I
Oh,
was
please
born
don't.
yesterday. It's not copyrighted either for mine or even for us, but it's pure his idea. He meant a very deep message in it, and that's what our topic is all about. I was born yesterday, but not .com, right? So probably they
Yeah,
were
no, no.
thinking, what kind of website is this, right?
I don't think there's actually a website as well, but hey, if you find something, good for you. Yeah.
All right, right. So with that topic, our gear is going to start changing, and we're going to start the ball rolling, right? We
Sure.
we talk about this current situation in not only in Singapore but I think worldwide. Cyberbullying is such a real thing right now, and because we spend humongous amount of time in social media, even the statistic shows that we are spending more time like this than ever been before. We stop going out and playing, or we start communicating. I mean, of course, certain of the families, certain have rules, right? You can't use your mobile phone after 9. If you're on a dinner table, if you put your phone on the table, that shows that the phone is more important than the other party. There's so much of things going on. But our teenagers, what we are talking about right now, was spending humongous time in there, and probably some or most will be already in cyberbullying, and some might not have a course, probably how to handle this. So, what is your take on this? How to avoid it? And if someone is already in a being cyberbullied, what will be your resilience words or the determination words or the kind of fearless, you got to do this, you got to do that. So it will be a quick tip for them.
Okay. So in the past, we only had bullies. Basically, a bully will come to you physically and torment you. But right now, in this day and age, although the technology is great, but technology is also bad because it's not just one person who can come up to you. It can be a whole community that comes up against you, and you might feel all alone. So, first place, again, think about the people that you hang out with. Do you want all this drama in your life? I mean, typically the bullies are the ones that you know. Typically the ones who are in the same school as you, the same cohort as you, the same circle of people as you. So you have to look at yourself. Hey, do I need all this drama in my life? I need to choose better friends. I need to choose people who will stand with me. Number one, so you don't put yourself in that situation. Number two, if you see something happening, I mean, if you're a kid, if you're a teenager, just cut them off. When you remove a bully, whether it's a cyber bully or a bully in real life, and take away their power, they are powerless. They cannot do anything. You know, so they will just disappear. They'll be like ice melting, and that's it. But the more attention you put on them, the actually, they feel challenged. They feel, hey, now I can do something because I got your attention. So just ignore them and move away. Life is too short for you to spend on other people who have no life. They are trolls. So just avoid them, right? But if still they come at you, hey, use technology to your advantage. There's such a function called block. Remove them. And if that doesn't work, if let's say you're a kid, then speak to someone. That's very important. Whether you speak to your parents, or if you're afraid of your parents, speak to your teacher or speak to another adult and see what can be done. And for adults, here's the thing: you also need to stand up. you know whether you stand up for yourself, or if you see something happening, you got to stand up as well, because silence is not good. It's actually giving power to the bully to say, here, yeah, go ahead. I'm letting you go. So you got to stand up. And they might not know that it's wrong. And today they might bully someone, tomorrow they might bully your kid, and then the next day they might do something else. So
Raj,
those are
it's
pieces of
very interesting
advice.
how it was very interesting how you say that, because if we allowed, so there's a weakness and strength between there, right? So whoever the person is bullying in cyber, by verbal or by even calling like words like stupid, or other fantastic words, non-fantastic words. But kids, as kids, they tend to keep it everything to themselves. But of course, schools are nowadays conducting a lot of courses, to be resilient, how to be determination, how to be fearless, and kind of stuff. But there's some percentage, but of course we don't have the percentage. Of course, we look into it, the statistics, stats. But if someone who's really feared, and is there some telltale signs where parents can look for, say, why my kid is always stressed? And if the parent know that she or he goes to the child who's having this issue, what will be the next solution that as you faced or you have overcome?
The first sign is change in behavior. When someone retracts, when someone changes their normal behavior, if your kid is normally laughing and joking, or telling jokes or smiling, then suddenly they change, that should trigger someone like, hey, what's going on? And yes, sometimes kids don't want to tell their parents, but that's where the relationship building comes in right at the start. I mean, you have to build that relationship with your kids right from day one, that they can trust you, that if they have any issue, they can come to you. I mean, there's no harm, but you've got to put in the effort as well. And this is also something that I am afraid of here in Singapore, because parents are busy. Early in the morning they rush off to work. They might not see their kids until they come back in the evenings, and then they go straight to their phones or emails or work stuff or the TV. So as parents, no matter how hard it is, we've got to spend time with our kids. At least until they're a certain age where they are stable, they're strong, and at the same time, you've also got to give them information. You got to give them motivation as well. I always tell my son, if anyone does this to you, anyone takes away your eraser or pencil, you just tell them. If you're scared, don't worry. Tell them my dad says no.
Okay.
Right? Very simple stuff. Because when he was young, I think maybe about K1, K2, uh, you know, the other classmates would take the eraser or pencil because they would share, and then he would feel uncomfortable, that they forgot to give it back and all that. I just told him, very simple rule. Anytime somebody asks you, my dad says no. And he learned that. Of course, you teach them how to be more resilient as well. Resilient as well. You also give them, stories. You talk about stories in history, or you make up stories. Have superheroes where they stand up to bullies, where they know what's right and wrong. I know it sounds childish, but you've got to put in the effort with your kids. These are your kids after all. If not, what are we doing as parents?
Well said, Raj, over there in that part of where you talk about resilience and now the kids and parents. But I somehow rather feel that nowadays kids, because even if you talk 40 years back when we are younger, we were pretty much spending most of our time in the outdoors without any social media or certain kind of stress. But now with these likes and these shares and these comments that make a particular platform, you don't want to mention certain platforms, that makes individual impulsive disorder or repetitive disorder where they like keep on saying, oh, why so and so have so much of likes and I don't have. So they try to replica someone, turn themselves into a individual of character and try to English. So that also can be lead to a lot of stress, anxiety as well as kids. But do you think our kids nowadays, I mean, general statement, nowadays, do you think they are a little bit more softer because they are not exposed to sports and fell down, we are overprotecting as a parents. No, now we're just changing a gear a little bit towards a parent. Do you think that as a parent we are overprotecting our child for every single thing, and when teacher or somebody punish and then we straight away go say, oh, why do you do that? Do you think it's because of the parent who are overprotecting the child? Nothing wrong on that as a child, but do you think that actually causes them or caused them to have a softer character, not able to stand up for their rights or dare to speak up? Do you think that one of the reasons can be?
Okay, I know where you're coming from. When we were young, if the teacher, punished us when we go home, we'll get extra punishment. I know where you're coming from because we grew up that era, and of course, we'll be playing outdoors until the parents will be shouting, "Hey, there's no more light. Can you come back in?" So I understand. It's a different environment now. We've all got to agree it's a different environment. I mean, in the past, maybe parents, only one parent will work, the other parent will be at home. So it's a lot easier to juggle, a lot easier to see. Now, typically, both parents are out. And at the same time, when both parents are out, the kid is back from school and is at home, not running around. And you can also see, like my estate, there are fewer kids than when I was growing up, or at least I feel that way. There are fewer kids. You can count, how many people are there, how many kids are there, and they might be going for tuition, extra classes. So generally, there would not be anyone around downstairs, and therefore, no other kid would join. You know, Kids will only go when there are kids downstairs, so they stay at home now. So it's a different environment altogether. Of course, there's access to technology. They got phones, iPads, TVs, Netflix, Amazon, whatever. There's plenty. I would not say that they are softer or more resilient or less resilient. I think it's just a different world that we live in, but they might face a very, very different challenge in terms of dealing with the online stuff. Like what you rightfully said. Right now, their challenge is all the online stuff. From YouTube. Kids watch YouTube. They don't play the games on their iPads. They watch people playing games on their iPads,
Yeah.
which baffles me. But they're listening in and they're looking at those videos as well. They're thinking, okay, why is this video more popular than this video? And at the same time, this also might make them a little bit more self-conscious. Like, look, I might not want to do a video because what if I get zero likes or zero views, but that guy has 7 million views? So they rather just watch. Then at the same time, it's not just YouTube. They've also got other platforms as well. And I think I know which one you're talking about. I'm not on that, right? But it seems like, oh, everybody wants to do some silly thing just to get some views. And people might be coerced into doing that. Not just kids, but adults. They live in a different world. We have to agree. Their resilience will be different. Their their thinking will be challenged in a different way. Right? So as parents, we need to try and help. Yes, there's different things out there. We also need to see how we can bridge those gaps, right? because we might not face them, but the kids will. Yeah. So they are different. They're not going to be soft, but they're going to be very different.
It's a new kind of a challenge in this new era that we are facing as parents. I'm not sure how our kids, when they become when they become parents, I don't know how they're going to handle their kids. But looks like cyberbullying or even abuse that we're going to talk on later, a few topics that lined up. But this thing about the scams that's coming up, right? I mean, for some reason, if I'm doing a video example and I on my video, for some reason, some hackers, tend to take a picture of me in my boxes and threaten me. If you don't give me $200, I'm going to flash the thing. The first thing I would say is please go ahead because it's a free publicity and they probably want to sponsor me. That kind of mindset. People have always been cornered because of cyberbullying or even abuse. So, what is your take that if someone faces this kind of threat? Of course, our police force are always on the top notch when handling these kind of cases when someone face this thing. But it's a coming forward. It's something like they're looking at themselves. Oh, if I come out, people will know about my identifications. I might feel judged. So a lot of judgment also involved. Even we can talk about kids, or even we talk about adults. Is there any way we can avoid that as well?
Okay. You're right. People do fear someone else saying, "Hey, you fell for this. You dumb, is it? Were you born yesterday?" Right? But you don't have to fear because all these scams can be in many way or forms. Not just the telephone scam. Hello, I am DBS. No, there can be others as well. There could be like Carousel or other platforms where you want to buy something, you pay them money first, then the guy says, "Oh, I cannot deliver. Please pay a little bit more," and then it just keeps going up. Or you get emails coming in saying that I've got your special passwords and stuff. You need to pay this amount by this day. And it will never stop. Of course, you've also got your traditional scams where they say, "I teach you how to get rich," or "I teach you how to do something else, buy multiple something," right? So all these things will happen. And people fear that if I tell the world, then the world will say, "This is common sense. What made you fall for it? Were you greedy? What happened?" But it's okay. People fall for things. Sometimes we let our defenses down, we let our guards down. But that doesn't mean that we need to let them continue taking advantage of us. And that doesn't mean that we let them go. I mean, of course, if it's like 10 cents, forget it lah. I mean, the time wasted is not not to your benefit. But if it's worth something, stand up and go get it back. And again, I come back to the, born yesterday. I was born yesterday. You always have to think, I was born yesterday, so that means I'm a baby. That means the other party thinks that they can take the candy away from the baby. So I got to start protecting myself. I've got to ask questions. Why are they doing this? What do I get in return? How sure is it it's a legal product? I've heard of people buying iPhones. They display the box. Oh, sorry, Xbox, I think. Xbox, they display the box. And then they said it's an empty box because they said, "I sold you the box. I never said I will sell you the contents." So you always have to think, yeah, I was born yesterday. So therefore, I have got candy, my money, or my whatever other things, and someone wants it. I got to ask, can I trust that person? And again, just like a baby, right? Babies only trust their immediate family. They only trust the people that they care about, that they see every day, that take care of them. They don't trust strangers. If you're a stranger and you try and pick up a baby, the baby will cry, right? So you got to start thinking that way. And again, if you're a baby, that means you have someone taking care of you, someone that actually loves you and trusts you, and you can trust them in return. Therefore, if you think that you've been scammed or been pushed or bullied, then speak to the person that has taken care of you. And if you cannot speak to that person, well, speak to Van,
Raj,
right?
as we
I'm
speak right
sure
now,
he'll help.
we have a viewer from her name is Tania. So saying that bullying was norm in our Asian culture. It was reading as a part of a growing up. Currently, cyberbullying is the new normal. Unfortunately, now and then we always say learn to deal with it. That's wrong. We need to address the acknowledge and decrease the negativity and toxic behavior with a lot of awareness. A wrong behavior is wrong, no matter how small it may be appear. The consequences that bully have to face strongly and firmly. So Tavania also agree what we say, that bullying is totally not acceptable at all. Thank you, Tavania, for the message. And Raj, so I mean, we do understand, it's case by case basis. There's a lot of factors involved. Even if let's say if I'm A, and keep on telling B, you are stupid for the next 15 days. And for B is a very that girl is very quiet and she's very innocent. Rather than innocent, she's very cool down in nature, right? But that girl might be going through a humongous amount of stress. She doesn't want any problem, and I think she will show some telltale signs. When she go back home, she's very quiet. The low esteem kicks in, and she will have fears. What might happen if I go to say. So what your suggestion or what your advice or your tip is, stand up for your right. If you don't like something, you speak it out. If you don't like it, block them off. So these are the features we have. But despite all these features, but there's still cases, as we in Singapore, we talk about Singapore, there's still in cases in that. And I mean, I'm sure there's no one shirt that fits everyone. But if you're going to say in a very quick tip, if someone is facing this situation, what is the next immediate step they should do? Not wait for 1 week or 2 week or 3 week to assess the situation and then make the report, right? By then it's already going through a humongous stress.
Yeah. If you see someone facing cyberbullying or bullying, it's also your responsibility to stand up, to stand beside the person, be with the person. And there is safety in numbers, right? And there's also this thing called diffusion of responsibility. This is something that we must avoid, diffusion of responsibility. That means if person A is bullying person B, I'm person C, I see it, but I think, okay, never mind, there's so many people, they will stand up for person B. And then I walk away. But then someone else, Van, will see, oh, but there's so many people here again. Never mind, I'm busy. Someone else will stand up. But person A will continue bullying person B because everybody thinks someone else will stand up for person B. Maybe he or she doesn't have the courage. Maybe he or she doesn't have the strength, but we do. So we should then turn around and stand up and say, hey, what's wrong? And even that small little thing, that creates courage. That creates, something for the person to rely on. So we, as a society, also need to stand up. It's not just between the person being bullied and the victim, or the victim and the bully, but it's also us. Because if we keep quiet, we're allowing this, and that's not good.
Well said, Raj. Thank you so much on that cyberbullying part. As we change gear to gear two right now, as you're picking up a lot of stuff, there's a lot of viewers right now. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. Right now with me is Raj Singh. He's a motivational speaker. You all seen him most of the time in Facebook. Very short videos, 1 to 2 minutes. His famous location will be Ska. Seldom in the outdoor parks where he does his runs, crazy runs at middle of the night. That is the time that I think he recharges himself. A very inspiring person. If you have seen his video, Raj Singh is his Facebook. You should look him up. Lots of motivational stuff that he talks about very indirectly. Sometimes you feel like it's direct, but if you understand, you will know why he is such a great person. Even if you look at the message here, I was born yesterday. It's a very deep meaning to it. So Raj, thank you for being with Kopi Event. So the next topic that we're going to go is abuse. Cyberbullying, okay, words like, calling certain names and a constant pressure, and the kid go through that. I mean, you have seen it. Stand up for your rights, talk to the parents, talk to your close ones that you trust, and whoever that is receiving the news, they should be able to handle it. And I think this is a lot of awareness right now, and as social media becomes very, very popular among everybody, young and old, and even the middle age as well. But abuse, do you think abuse is happening in social media? Because when we say social media, it also can happen to spouses. I say a spouse, right? Using "hey, you stupid," or using certain words constantly, it also can be abuse, but it's verbal abuse, not physical abuse. What is your take in this?
I think abuse can happen, especially again this day in society. We have all this. Sometimes it could be from cowards, sorry to say, but cowards who hide behind the keyboards. They use fake names, fake profiles, and yes, they are cyber bullies, but they also might go into abuse. And then there are also physical abuse because people get frustrated. And yes, there's pressure mounting. People have work to do, they've got stuff to do. Uh, and they work hard, they take the public transport every day, and their pressures are building up, and they want to let it out on the next person they see. But it's wrong. Think of it. If you go into violence, then it's a punishable offense. It's a criminal case. You lose your livelihood, you lose everything else. And yes, there's abuse, but again, it needs to be stopped. And people also need to stop and think for themselves. Is this worth doing? Is that person who is shouting at me worth me going there and punching his face, or shouting back or doing something? No, I can walk away. I tell people this: you got two legs, you can walk. Cannot walk, can run. So it's okay. You can run faster as well. So it's all right. Move away. Yes, there's abuse, and it's just picking up because I guess people are frustrated nowadays. But that doesn't make it an excuse, nor does it make it right.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you on that. Of course, the topic that we choose today is, of course, the famous "I was born yesterday." But imagine if we have created a topic that I wasn't born yesterday. How will this topic will be going on? What is the perspective or perspective on people's mind? Because I know every content that you talk about on certain things on social media and you share in your platforms are well reached and people respond to it, and certain are very on point, some are indirect. But do you think that, by sharing, by creating awareness, do you think there's a change happening? Because what we want at the end of the day is people to see these videos and to learn something, to take back something, to use it for themselves or for their loved ones. But do you think by talking and creating these kind of videos, and even that platform, even Kopi events platform, do you think it will have a change? Does it make a
Definitely. I
difference?
mean, it will. Whether it's going to be a big change, whether it's going to, be screened to the entire world, that one I don't know. But it's always like a ripple effect. It's always like Corona, like COVID-19 is a virus, right? So good things can also happen in a viral way. That means you and I are talking, someone else is listening in, and they get inspired to do something else. They get inspired to stand up to someone. They get inspired to do something with their lives as well. And then they in turn inspire someone else. So it's always a viral effect. And talking about this, I was born yesterday versus I wasn't born yesterday. Okay. So again, I was thinking about this. I was born yesterday, and my employees, my staff will always tell you I give them a lot of headaches. I personally give them a lot of headaches because I always ask questions. Why do you do it this way? Why not that way? Can you tell me how you did it? And they were like, oh, I have to explain. Because my way is I will ignore what I know. I will think, look, I don't know anything. It's a white, clean slate. And you teach me. Like yesterday, you solved my camera problem. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so to me, even though I'm 40 something years old, I don't think that, oh, I know everything, because I don't. There's a whole world of knowledge out there. So by thinking, look, I was born yesterday, that means I come to this world on a clean slate. I'm still learning stuff. And people need to think of that rather than, no, 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 I wasn't born yesterday. I know everything. But then they carry that luggage and they don't want to learn. And then in the end, they become a frog in the well because they don't want to see the world outside for what it truly is. So we always must think, look, how can we be learning? How can we be growing? Right? So people have to think about that rather than, oh, I have all my luggage, I know everything. And sometimes all these past baggages, past ways of doing things must also end because we are in a new place. We have the millennials, we have the next generation coming up. and they handle things differently, right? And COVID has shown us that a lot of things have changed already. People's well-being, mental well-being, while cooped up in the houses, not working from offices, working from home, it's a stressful thing. I can imagine parents working from home and then the kids asking them, "Mom, Dad, can I go out?" Can't concentrate on work. So things can go wrong. Yeah. So we must always think, look, I was born yesterday. Sorry, I keep coming back to the title because I think it's funny.
Yeah, yeah, definitely it is, and it has a deep meaning to it. And Raj, of course, you mentioned something about COVID, but COVID also on a side note, putting onto a free gear right now before we go to the third gear. It also taught everyone a lesson in terms of how to love, how to be more grateful, tons of gratitude, and things how we work in different way to explore opportunities. And of course we always talk about positive versus negative. If you can stay positive during a negative situation, you actually conquer the situation. But of course, saying it's easy, but that situation that you have to first start, from your mind onwards to get the thing rolling on. But the next question that we're going to talk about is a little on the social media again. We spend humongous amount of time, and like we said, we tend to say good morning to the actual ones or the to loved ones, everything good morning in the phone, sending pictures. We smile on the phone often, and we when we drive, I mean, unfortunately, we see, that's another topic we will come in again. But the car is going slow, and you're like wondering why is this guy go. The moment you overtake and see, goodness gracious, he's like looking downwards or looking at the phone. So the phone has somehow rather hijacked us because of work, family, everything is inside. Everything is just loaded into this piece of device that we call it, the mobile. Do you think we are missing a big time, especially kids? Because right now the kids, even as a toddler, parents sometimes give iPads and different devices, right? Don't want to mention. They somehow, I mean, to keep them quiet, especially in a restaurant and so on and so forth. But are we training our kids to be addicted since the child is born? What is your take on that?
Okay, so I don't know whether this can work on the laptop, but imagine this is the kid's perspective of you. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much. All they see is the parent with the phone. And that's not good, right? I mean, unfortunately, that's not good. And like what you say, people are glued to their phones. I take the trains once in a while, and this is prior to COVID. But the thing is, when I look around, everybody is either watching something on their phone or scrolling on their phone, and I'm the only one looking around. I've taken pictures of that environment as well because to me that was so strange. Like the whole carriage is full and people are still just on their phone. Yeah, I know maybe there's nothing to do, but okay, if you're traveling, I understand. But back home, everybody is on the phone as well, or a device, some kind of device. And we are teaching kids that if the parents are using device, then the kids need a device as well. And then after that, when they grow up and there's a distance, then we say, oh, why is there a distance? Yeah, because you put that device in between you and the kid. So obviously, and that's not a good thing. I mean, some people cannot live without their phones. At the crossing, at the road crossing, they're on their phone. The other day, I almost, I was driving, I'm alert. And then this lady crossed the road while looking on her phone. I mean, all I can do is shake my head while in the car. But what if it was someone else? Then there would be an ambulance there. Probably when she's lying on the stretcher, she's still looking at her phone. I don't know. But yeah, it's really bad. We need to take a break from our phone or our devices rather.
I think we're all very engrossed on that because of the technology. I mean, technology is definitely done positive, but as also if we don't manage it, it tends to hijack us. Like you mentioned that situation, probably it is actually the thing that's happening. Because traffic lights, people walking through, even driving, or even sleeping, or even in the toilet. Everybody is just looking at the phone and all the time, and we are spending so much of time on the phone that we it become like addictive. If you lost your phone, you lost your entire life. Everything is gone. Numbers, credit card numbers, your details, your informations, your appointments and schedules. So we really depend on that. So that is technology, but then again, it's positive and negative. The next question, Raj, that we decided to want to go through is trust, because you mentioned earlier about baby. Baby only trusts the loved ones, right? But unfortunately, we live in a world of both goodness and badness. What is your take on trust?
Trust is a big thing, yeah, very big thing. Uh, it is very hard to build, but very easy to lose. The moment you do something silly, you lose trust. And it's very hard to gain it back. And to me, if someone puts their trust on me, this is from my dad. Uh, Basically, if someone puts their trust on me, I need to fulfill it. So sometimes I don't like to meet people at all because I don't want to take the extra baggage from them. I don't want them to give me responsibilities. You know, I don't know how to explain it better, but like my dad, he was doing two jobs, and basically his pay was only about $800 a month. And one day he actually saw a bag. The boss had left behind a bag of money for salary. That's more than 40,000, 40 something thousand dollars. Now, for a person who's earning $800, 40 over thousand is many, many months of salaries. But he still held on to money and said, no, I'm waiting until the boss come back, then I give to him. So to me, it's not just about money, it's about the things that you do. When you say something, you do it. And even though no one is watching, you still do the right thing. That's trust. Now, that's trust in one way. And of course, you have to build that trust. People need to trust you. But at the same time, when they trust you, you also have to use your judgment that they're not using you. Because there's many people out there who will use you, who will
Raj,
use your time.
I'm just going to hold you
Yeah,
here for what, sir. How do we define that moment? Because if you don't trust, then you have a trust issue, right? Then you see the world in a different perspective. But that against their comments, right? But why this topic is came in is because I think you have related the baby. Even the baby understands trust, right? Someone holds and the heat, the motion, it attacks the alert. It's a safety mechanism of the human body. But without trusting someone, it's going to be pretty difficult in our life. But then again, like what you said brilliantly, that some as an agenda, they wear different masks to manipulate the situations. So, in your experiences, or even in your talks that you have done numerous in motivationals and in coaching, how one can identify whether the person, you look at the eyes, you look at the shoulders, or maybe he's scratching his head, or maybe he's pulling his shirt, or maybe he's scratching. All these can be like a investigation officer. But in your experiences, how do one able to protect that? It's a safety mechanism.
very good. Very good question. Very simple way. Not looking at people's eyes or ears or scratching. Do your homework. Basically, do your homework. You want to trust someone? Find out who their friends are. Look at their presence online. Birds of a feather flock together. This is a very old saying, birds of a feather. You will see all the scammers hang out with the scammers. They'll be like sharing, knowledge, secrets, whatever. Do you want to be in that group? No, you don't. So you got to do your homework. I mean, of course, face to face, you want to meet someone, you want to trust him or her, you still give your life savings to someone, just because you met them once. You got to do that. I mean, you got to, again, think of yourself. I was born yesterday. I don't trust you. You're going to take my candy away. So, no. So, birds of a feather first. Who do they hang out with? Look at the background. Oh, this guy, he was in the news for don't know what, 5 months ago or 5 years ago. Then now he's doing the similar thing. Wait, alarm bell should go. Birds of a feather is a very, very simple but very strong way of your warning bells, right?
We have
So
a viewer right now, Rajesh R. Shah. He said trust is learning how to read body language. So I think he had said it what it requires. But sometimes when you look at the eyes, because it's hormones, right, Raj, and someone is telling hi, probably, it's not like a Pinocchio where the nose becomes longer. But rather than, they tend to stumble because it's not the truth. It just comes in bloom like a flow of water. But if it's a fabricated, then they got to think and what to answer, how to answer tactfully. So it's a bit, in a nutshell, I think we all have. Rajis also has shared this about phone, with all phone, camera, music player, everything's in the phone, right, Raj? Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Raj, also, we use separate gadgets like, sometimes when you take away your phone from your kid, your kid will say, "Oh no, I put alarm in it." Oh, my school teacher is having a group chat. We need to discuss about this.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming online level, and you like, shall I confiscate the phone or is it screen
Cannot.
time? Oh, tough. No, if I don't do it now, tomorrow they will ask me why I don't do it. So parents are put in difficult positions as well. So that is why I brought in the trust topic as well. But in a nutshell, what do you say, Rush? I mean, you said years to build, but one incident to break it off, to collapse. Of course, like what we mentioned earlier, there's no one shape fits all. But what works best for you, or what is your best advice for this?
I mean, again, come back to the family. Again, come back to the baby and the parents and people around. You trust those people, and I would trust my son. If I were to give him a phone and I told him 1 hour, I would trust him to do that. And if I told him, look, you cannot go surf YouTube and watch people playing games, I would trust him, you know. But at the same time, he also needs to know that I will not be snooping behind him and checking up on him. I mean, it goes two ways. But once it's outside the family, it's slightly more different because I don't know that person that well. That person doesn't know me that well. I don't know, how long they've been doing something. And like what you say, they could be telling a story today, tomorrow their story changes. Hey, what happened? Right? You got to ask that question. And again, when it comes to scams and all that, again, trust and not trust, there's again old sayings. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. Right?
So we do often hear this, right? Give me 32 seconds, 32 and a half seconds. I show you how to make you millionaire. Give me 5 seconds. I show you how to be successful. So these things are like all over, and people sometimes wonder, hey, is that possible that something can happen? Or even in the fitness aspect or the health aspect, do a 5-day program, you lose 20 kgs. All these things are very lucrative and it's very attractive. Not visually, because visually also you can see it, but when you hear things like that, some people just tend to get into it, and then later they try to come back. It's very difficult. So I think the way these, so whoever's doing that, their advertisements are such great manner that people can easily fall into it, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I mean, people fall for all that, and then after that, either they kick themselves or they keep quiet because they don't want to look foolish that they've lost money. And yeah, you're what, lose 20 kg? I've seen that as well. Drink magic coffee and lose 20 kg. Yeah, you know why? Because you end up in the hospital. They don't tell you that fine print. So it's funny. But you got to start questioning. Again, am I a baby? Is someone trying to steal my candy? So you got to ask all those questions. Then you got to think, okay, birds of a feather flock together. Where are all these people linked? What's their history? Then if it's too good to be true, probably is. Right? You got to use your own judgment call as well. You got to build it. Experience comes from building it.
So we have Tanya here again. I think she's talking a lot on trust. Thank you, Tanya, for sharing us. Trust is an expensive gift. Don't give it away easily. Watch and learn patiently. Don't trust quickly, but steadily with time, one will manifest themselves clearly and surely be observant. So thank you, Tanya, for saying that. So Raj, as we are now at the third gear, we just have two more gears to go. Say good night and for the show. This also can be a little on a social media harassment, not necessarily on social media platforms, but messaging services. There's so many messaging services right now, but we don't want to mention any names of it. But women can be easily targeted regarding their sexual activities, or leading them to a certain issues, asking. So this can be also be sexual harassment, not necessarily to be visually. I mean, visually can't, but if you come near a person, woman, and see that, also can, it can report it. But words and messages, it also can be linked to social, probably that particular whoever the person is can go under stress because this particular person is trying to message in different ways and that, and of course it should be reported. And what is your take on that? So for those who are just keeping quiet, and it's a bit of face value. They might not want to say it up because then everybody will. Once again, then we talked about it earlier about in a cyberbullying. What is your take on this, Raj?
Okay, if people keep quiet, if victims keep quiet, they're actually encouraging the aggressors or the people doing it to do more. And it might harm even more people or younger people, and they might, do more harm. So keeping quiet is not a good thing. I understand there's fear, there's frustration, there's a lot of emotions behind keeping quiet. Like, I don't want to relive the thing. It's not just for women, this is for anyone. But keeping quiet is wrong, right? And at the same time, we, all of us, whether it's men, women, we got to understand, look, when we communicate with people, we got to give respect. We don't use words that someone else doesn't like, whether it's the community that doesn't like it, whether it's the gender that doesn't like it, or whether it's the age group that doesn't like it. We've got to respect the other party as well. I mean, I don't go around telling an older gentleman or older lady, "Hey, lao ape." It's not nice. Nor do I go around telling the younger people, "You're a young punk. I've eaten more salt than you have rice." I don't do that. I mean, it's a sign of respect on not just the community, whether it's race, religion, color, but at the same time as gender, as well as the same time as the age groups. We all need to communicate with respect. If you do that, cannot go wrong. Then at the same time, those people who are wrong, we've got to stand up against them. We've got to tell them off.
So, in a nutshell, you have just mentioned that one should not live in fear, especially when it comes to social media or even like nowadays bullying, in cyberbullying, abuse, it's all becoming wireless, right? It's all in communication part. Like I said, those who can handle well, they just stand up for their rights, say stop that shit, I'm going all over. I mean, sorry for my English, but that's how people are. But there are some groups, some particular people, individuals who just remain silent, and then that gives the power to the other part where they tend to press on more, and then eventually can be a victim to a lot of issues, and that often lead to mental related issues like even illnesses like stress, anxiety, depressions, and so on and so forth. We also have where Tanya also mentioned that where is the fine line between flirting and sexual harassment via texting versus acting. Please enlighten women on this matter. Many are still confused and easily targeted. Thank you, Tanya, for that. Tanya, for that message. So, Raj, probably you want to take that before we go on to our last session.
Okay, I'm not a female, so okay, but I'll try. If it offends you, it's offensive, right? And I mean, if you don't know the person and the person is trying to be flirtatious, then it's also crossing the line. And you can say stop. I mean, anyone can say stop, right? Whether you are a guy or girl and you receive messages, you can also say stop because you don't feel comfortable. People should not enter into your comfort zone. And you have every right to say, look, sorry, but I don't enjoy or want this type of things. And maybe the other person doesn't know. Then at least you're telling them, this is not what I want. And it could be in the office as well, not just over phone. It could be, office, and your colleague, your new colleague or old colleague says, oh, something, which offends you. Tell them, because they might not know. And then if
Thank
they do
you.
it again, then tell them off.
So, do you think there should be a warning shot?
I think people need to be firm for their rights. They got to stand up and say, look, this is the line, don't cross it. They don't need to
Or
go and blow up first and yeah.
is it probably because weakness is often, sorry, kindness is often shown as a weakness. Is that could be the reason?
Yeah, silence, kindness, all these things people take advantage of. You know, I am sorry to say, but it happens.
All right, Raj, we are coming to the last segment of the today's talk session, and of course, we will then summarize it. What advice can you give to young people? I mean, it can
Wow.
be social media, it can be their attitude towards elders, towards the new era, what they are facing right now, because we see different patterns. Nowadays, kids they know a certain protocols to how to make parents agitated. They know how to give silent treatment. The kids are nowadays are smarter than the parents. I mean, I was like, oh, there's a different ways of they are always learning new things, to make their parents. Oh, you are such a lame, or you are so old fashioned, and so many things are happening right now. So what advice can you give to our young people who are full of energy in their blood?
So I know some people would not like me for saying this. The older group would not like me for saying this. Okay, there's the boomers, there's the Gen X, the millennials, the younger generation than that in the future. To me, it's very simple. You know, look at our entire world, our mankind. Every generation has brought us further and further. Every generation has brought about change, technology, or whatever else. We used to be cavemen, and then we wore, shiny metal stuff, and then we use weapons, and now we are doing online stuff. You, the young people, have a lot more ideas. You have a lot more potential than we ever did, or someone else ever did. So don't ever let someone tell you that no, 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 you're not hardworking enough. You will never make it. Uh, oh, your generation is not going to do well. Our generation is better. No, you're going to do well. You're going to grow. You have potential. Go chase your dreams. Do what you want to do because you only live once. You don't want to end up, you know, wasting your life away doing something that you don't like. So explore all options. Again, think about babies. When babies go from milk to solid food, the parents will give them all types of food, all types from pumpkin to apple to pear to banana, so they have different tastes. So as young people, you also should explore every single thing that you can, because we only got one life. You don't want to end up saying that, oh, I just did one job from 8 to 5 every single day till I was 65. I retired, then I died. No way. You got to do more. Again, I was born yesterday. So I carry no luggage. I don't think about 40 years ago what I did, 30 years ago what I did. I just say, yesterday I was born. It was a blessing. I was in a stomach one day, I came up, I'm growing. So you should think that way as well, that you are growing and that you are making people smile and be happy, just like babies do. Babies make everyone happy, that you youngsters are also making someone happy. Anyone who was born yesterday is making someone happy. And don't put things off. If you look at babies, when they want to drink milk, they drink milk. When they want to sleep, they sleep. When they want to do something, they do something. They have their own schedule and they do it. So be like that.
And you mess up the baby schedule, they scream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a part. Raj, it was very great. I would say an advice that you have given the for our younger generation, but also to talk about as the last part where I was born yesterday.com. I think you probably might want to register this because
Oh,
probably right now many people who will now logging and say, "Hey, what is this website not working? What is this guy was showing?" Like, it doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to Raj. It was just a topic today.
yeah, it was just a topic. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should register. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
think more people will be coming in, right? I mean, that is your unique way of coming to social. And of course, always at the end part of the your video, you always ends up with what do you think, right? Is there something that you want to tell to the viewers? Of course, we spoke about cyberbullying, awareness. I think awareness, right? I mean, if our loved ones or our kids, if you see some kind of isolation or you tend to see they are very quiet. They tend to spend away isolating themselves. So I think these are telltale signs that I think parents should. I mean, parents also having a hard time nowadays, right? With this COVID, and to bring back the bacon home, and they do work hours are just crazy, stress, deadline, sales targets, so on and so forth. I think parents are also in the verge of and the fire in their feet and always making things happen for their family. I think both need to play a part, but of course we have to stop cyberbullying. If the viewers are watching it, all right, watching right now, if anybody take a picture of you, example, and say, "Oh, I'm going to flash your picture in all over the net of your boxes," please go ahead. Do not fall to this kind of trend, because I think that is becoming the trend also. Because with all these cameras on, you never know who is doing what, and then probably that they are someone or someone they try to scam, which we talked about earlier. I think it was a great topic. So do not fall for this. Do not fall for any single threats. I think the best part is our forces are there, our police forces are there. If you do faces any situation, you always approach them. Experts around. There's a lot of talk helplines around. I think the most important thing is to get help. Do you think? What do you think, Raj? That's a topic.
That's a good line. Yeah. But you're right. You're right. There's help everywhere. Our SPF is really world class. They can advise. So even if you don't want to speak to your parents, don't want to speak to your friends or colleagues, you can always speak to the police officers, give you excellent advice as well. So, and don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared about. It's your life.
All right, Raj, I think we have come to almost 1 hour and 7 minutes. We have a very good constant flow of viewers, almost 30 viewers are watching. Thank you so much for joining for the viewers and asking a few questions on and also sharing with that. Raj, is there any other things that last but not the least that you want to say? Any part that I know you have anything that you want to say before we end this talk itself?
Well, again, thank you for inviting me. And yeah, I mean, you've already asked the question. What do you think?
Probably that will be your last part, and then they will message and ask questions. But is there any other things that you want to
Uh,
talk that to the
that's about
parents?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
it was very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you for participating in Kopi events. We're definitely going to keep in touch. Please do more videos. For those viewers out there, Raj Singh is a motivation speaker. He have different hats. We can just keep on talking about it. His videos are such inspirational. Sometimes are direct, some are indirect. The topics can go from all the way from politics to from road, from driving to hawker centers. If he sees something that's not right, he's not going to keep quiet. He will wise up, and the voice will make a change because people are aware of the situation. So Raj, thank you so much for spending a great valuable of 1.5 hours with us, and definitely we are going to get in touch. Thank you so much, Raj. I'll catch you real
All
soon.
right. Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. So thank you, viewers, for watching us at Kopi with Rents, and that was Raj Singh, great motivational speaker. I enjoyed personally his videos because his videos do have a lot of impact on is the way you want to share. And of course, like he said, the topic today is I was born yesterday.com. All right, that website, if you try to log in right now, you probably won't find anything because it's not website, but probably Raj might consider having that registered as well. Do look out for Raj, motivation speaker, and he has different hats, like I mentioned, on his Facebook, which is Raj RAJ and Singh SINGH. All right, follow him. There's a lot of great content videos that Raj posts time to time from all kind of topics that is shared, and most of them are his experiences and whatever that he feels that you want to make a change, and he does that. And today's topic is all about cyberbullying, abuse, and even in social media platforms. So I hope you have enjoyed the session with me today. This is your host, Vance, from Kopi with Vance. I'll catch you again in our weekly show every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Today was a bonus that we want Raj to be in our show. So till I catch you then, cheers and bye.